Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. News, events, and stories abound in the state system. ATN's appetite for in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage is a driving principle for this program in order to bring government activities to the doorstep of the people. Let's go through the highlights of today's reports. In Rivers State, analysts describes Rivers' political feud as issues of loyalty. In Bayelsa State, businesses shut down. In Odo State, PVCs yet to be collected. INEC. And on crime, kidnapper Evans opts for plea bargain. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight to the details. Stay tuned.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. On ATN.
Welcome back. Political analysts has attributed the lingering Rivers political crisis between the FCT minister and Governor Similaye Fubara as issues that borders on political loyalty and trust. Speaking on Atlantic Open Conversation, a socio-political analyst, Sobeye Eli, said the issue between the current FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, and the incumbent governor of River State's border.
What is happening now? The governor seeing these people resigning in droves, bleeding the cabinet at this point in time. Then I say,
is coming after 5 pro-Wike commissioners recently resigned from Governor Fubara's cabinet. There's more news, but don't forget you can connect with us and watch us on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube. Not be merely an annual ritual, rather a profound renewal of confidentiality and commitments to Bayelsa State and the Ijaw nation. Others who spoke extolled the ideas Boro stood for and his struggle for equity and justice within the Nigerian Federation. The Delta State Police Command has arrested 5 suspects involved in kidnapping, robbery, and cultism. The command spokesperson, SP Edafe Bright, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday. The statement revealed that 3 suspects, Yakubu Yau, 20, Musa Yakubu, 25, and Cameroonian Abdullahi Muhammad, 38, were arrested for kidnappings in some areas of the state. It read, intelligence gathered on some kidnapping incidents in the Warri axis revealed that it is being carried out by one suspect named Yakubu Yau, a 20-year-old suspect who resides in Kaduna but always comes to Oha and Ukwabo communities in Okbe, local government area to kidnap unsuspecting residents for ransom. The statement added that victims also identified the suspects who led detectives to Uwaba community in Okpe local government area, where 2 automatic pump actions, guns, 1 live cartridge and 1 knife, hidden and buried in the bush, were recovered. The command also stated that investigations are still ongoing and that efforts are made to arrest other fleeing members of the gang. It was also reported in an arrest on May 10th, 22-year-old Michael Udo was arrested by policemen attached to the Ozoro division. A locally made revolver gun and 2 live cartridges were said to have been found during a house search, and an investigation is ongoing. The statement further read that one Chinedu Okolo, 31 years, was arrested on Tuesday in Obiaruku after a distress call about forced court initiation. A locally made double-barreled pistol and the victim's stolen phones were said to have been recovered during the operation, as efforts are on to arrest other fleeing suspects. It was reported in March that the command similarly announced the arrest of 2 suspected kidnappers and 4 suspected cultists in separate operations. The Independent National Electoral Commission has disclosed that 373 permanent voters' cards have yet to be collected by registered voters in Edo State. The INEC National Electoral Commissioner in charge of the state, Professor Rhoda Gamas, disclosed this on Thursday during a stakeholders meeting on the continuous voters registration, which will begin on May 27th. Represented by the state's resident electoral commissioner, Dr. Anu Gum Onoha, she also disclosed that voters registration would commence on May 27th and end June 5th, 2024. He explained that the meeting with the stakeholders is crucial to the success of any election. He added, the registration is to enable those who have reached the age of 18 to register and carry out their civic responsibility. It will also enable those who want to transfer PVC to another location to do so, as well as those who have issues either with names or dates of birth to correct their PVC. In addition to the registration, uncollected permanent voters' cards would be made available for collection. The National Commissioner, however, said the exercise would be conducted by INEC officials and National Youth Corps members, warning that the Commission would prosecute anyone who committed infractions during the exercise. However, he appealed to the media, political parties, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to help mobilize and sensitize the public to register to vote in the forthcoming governorship election. Pressure group within the Edo State chapter of Labour Party, known as Catalyst Committee, has advised the Independent National Electoral Commission and the judiciary to uphold the rule of law of the group. Abel O'Hare in Benin City said, "It is only when justice is served that democracy can be deepened in the country," adding that the call became imperative as some money bags were allegedly out to ensure that justice was not served, thereby subverting the will of the people. This is coming after Imam Sunangbon had dragged the Labour Party governorship candidate Akpata to the federal high courts in Abuja and Benin City, seeking interpretation of the constitution as regards the emergence of Akpata as the party's governorship candidate in Edo State, and earlier had alleged that Akpata was not fit to have participated in the Labour Party primary election as a result of the issue bordering on the provision of false information and dual citizenship, among others. He also said the issues in question did not only breach the party and INEC guidelines, but also contravene the country's 1999 constitution as amended. Deadly car crash has killed 18 travelers on the Umahia, Enugu axis of the Port Harcourt-Enugu highway at a police checkpoint around the Lukbanta area of Abia State. The 18-seater commercial bus was at the checkpoint awaiting police clearance when a truck driver lost control and rammed into them, killing the driver and all the passengers. Eyewitness Barnabas Okereke said the road was blocked by protesting bus drivers and other motorists. Some yet to be identified gunmen abducted Azoro around the Abagana area of the Inji Koka local government area of the state on Saturday, and his whereabouts have remained unknown till date. Azoro, the secretary of the Demili branch of MBA, was said to have been kidnapped 2 weeks after his wedding. The abduction was also confirmed by the founder of Due Process Advocates, Attorney Emeka Uguonye, in a post on the group's official Facebook page. According to Uguonye, the advocacy group received a message from its head office in the United States of America that Azoro was kidnapped in Anambra State, where he lives and practices law. He, however, called on the Anambra Police Command to leave no stone unturned in seeking the safe release of Azoro. When contacted on the development, the Anambra State Police spokesman, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, said the command had not received the report of the lawyer's abduction, but said members of the MBA were at the command to see the Commissioner of Police. Ikenga, however, did not disclose the reason for the visit. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has shut down 3 cosmetic shops and raided several others in Lagos for the illegal sale and stocking of unregistered products. The raid targeted shops selling Dr. Teal's brand cosmetics, following a complaint from the trademark holder about potential fakes. NAFDAC seized samples for laboratory testing to verify their safety and authenticity. The cosmetics shops in Igbeada and Ikeja areas in Lagos. According to the enforcement team, the raid followed a tip-off from concerned Nigerians. They clamped down on 2 suspected shops located at the trade fair complex along Excellent Line. While the shop owners were not present, attendants were issued invitation letters and some shops were sealed. Some managers of the affected shops and supermarkets claimed to have documents to back up their products and promised to make them available. Addressing journalists at the trade fair complex, the team lead, who is also the Chief Regulatory Officer of NAFDAC Investigations and Enforcement Directorate, Mr. Ishildi Sunday, said NAFDAC received a complaint from the trademark owner about the alleged fakes and market authorization holder. He said the shops affected would be reopened after administering the necessary stipulations. This is coming after Ajibola, a lawyer, became the lawmaker representing Oriade constituency in the assembly on the platform of the People's Democratic Party during the 2023 elections. 13 kidnapped victims escaped during a military invasion into a terrorist camp between Maro Rijana forests in Kajuru, local government areas of Kaduna State. The village head of Gife, under Kufana chiefdom in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, Emmanuel Idon, who disclosed that the terrorists had attacked Ugunwan Dantata in the Kajuru local government area, killing 2 persons and kidnapping 18 villagers. He also said another 3 persons from Ungwan Maijama in the Kauru local government area and 2 Fulanese who could not be identified similarly escaped, and the escapees burst out around Maru and Tantatu villages, where one of the village heads called for identification. He called on the Nigerian military to sustain its operation around the bushes in the Kajuru local government area so as to completely dislodge the terrorists and restore confidence. Disagreement over sharing of inheritance, of which those he alleged to have cheated on him with were in the mosque at the moment, and he did that for his voice to be heard. The police spokesperson said the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 1, Umar Sanda, confirmed the incident when a delegation of security personnel visited the victims at Murtala Mohammed Specialist Hospital. The earlier statement by the PPRO read, "Today, 15th May 2024, at about 05:20 hours, reports were received that there was an explosion at the mosque in Gordon village, Gezawa, local government area of Kano State, during Subi prayers, and that some persons got injured." According to eyewitness accounts, shortly after pouring fuel inside the mosque, Aminu locked the doors, thereby trapping worshippers inside, before setting off the bomb. One of the injured victims, Sadiq Kamal, who spoke to newsmen, said when the flames engulfed the mosque, he desperately attempted to escape, but found the exit doors were securely locked. According to him, Aminu has a history of violent behavior in the village, adding that he had earlier brandished a machete, threatening fellow villagers. Kamal said authorities had once arrested and sent Aminu to a psychiatric hospital for mental health evaluation. Sabia Ibrahim, whose 3 uncles were among the victims, called for justice, alleging that Aminu's actions were deliberate and not due to mental illness. Tidis and Doro Baga Kakua local government area, Borno, Nigeria, after spending several years with the terrorists. He disclosed this when the initial investigation was concluded, and it was discovered that those who surrendered managed to escape from Sharama, located in the Lake Chad Islands. According to him, among those who surrendered was Malam Muazu Adamu, also a known fighter within the Jamaat al-As-Sunnah Lid-Dawa wa Jihad faction, while the other members of the group disclosed that they had been engaged in farming activities before deciding to make their escape. According to him, the items found in their possession include clothes, blankets, mats, pots, plates, and various other personal belongings, while the surrendered individuals were currently in custody and undergoing further investigation to ascertain more details regarding their activities and affiliations. You are watching Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
They are not picking our calls.
on the facts to so no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history,
We are one people. All of us.
leaders, politics,
Nobody's an
occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker. You are a human trafficker.
Welcome back to Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a motion filed by Professor Cyril Ndufon challenging the qualification of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC's lawyer Osuobeni Akponimisingha to practice. Justice James Omotosho, in a ruling, held that the application and counter-affidavit filed by parties in the controversy over the legal qualifications of Akponimisingha and defense counsel Joe Aggie was not for the courts to determine. This is coming after Ndufon, the suspended Dean of the Faculty of Law in the University of Calabar, and his co-defendant, Sunny Anyanwu, had alleged that Akponimisingha was not qualified to practice as a lawyer, and the development had robbed the court of its jurisdiction to entertain the matter, while praying the courts to quash the charge against them. He said, contrary to the defense arguments, the appellation doctor added to his name was a result of an additional academic qualification acquired by him after he had been called to the bar as a legal practitioner, and also alleged that the names of the lead counsel to the defendants, Joe Aggie, San, and other senior advocates appearing with him in the criminal case were not on the roll of legal practitioners in Nigeria with the appendage of Sam. Military High Command, through Operation Safe Haven, said it has the community of the Bassa local government area of Plateau State 3 months to end the series of renewed attacks in the area. The attacks had led to the killings of several people and the destruction of properties. The latest being the murder of a 32-year-old farmer, Bulus Joseph, who was hacked to death on his farm in the Mayanga community last week Tuesday, while the day after 2 herders were killed and their 150 cows also slaughtered, as a development which had created tension in the council area. The commander of the Operation Safe Haven in charge of maintaining peace in the state, Major General A.E. Abubakar, disclosed this at the 3-division in the Basa local government area of the state, while inaugurating a peace implementation committee for the community. Said after 3 months, the military would wield the big stick. He also warned those harboring criminals in any part of the state to desist, as Operation Safe Haven would not hesitate to deal with anyone found wanting, while Governor Caleb Mutfwang thanked the military commander and his men to working to restore permanent peace in the Basa and other parts of the state. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is urging the House of Representatives to approve the refund of 24,679,987,881 naira 91 kobo to Nasarawa and Kebbi states as cost of construction of airport. The request in 3 separate letters and read by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, at the plenary. According to the President, Item 3 of the second schedule to the 1999 Constitution is amended, places aviation and safety of aircrafts squarely on the shoulders of the federal government under the exclusive legislative list, while the President urged the House of Representatives to consider and grant concurrence for the issuance of a promissory note in favor of Nasarawa and Kebbi states.
The committee at one of its sitting deliberated exhaustively on the provisions of the bill. Thereafter, a painstaking clause-by-clause analysis of the bill was carried out to ensure that the bill conforms to normative style as it relates to bill of this magnitude. In the course of the committee's marked-up session on the bill, the following observations and findings were made. 1. That the contemplation as of the bill aligns with the required and acceptable drafting standards. 2. That the intent and purport of the bill are well structured and are strategically streamlined for socio-economic development.
The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRC, has confirmed the deaths of several persons in a road accident that occurred on Ibadan-Iseyin Road on Thursday. The Public Relations Officer, FRSA, Oyo Sector Command, Mr. Mayowa Odewo, said in a statement that the deceased were 5 male adults, 1 female adult, and 1 female child. Odewo said that 15 people also sustained varying degrees of injuries out of the 22 people involved in the crash. Accidents involving a Nissan Urban commercial bus with registration number SEY 254ZY and with registration number LGB 343XA. Odewo stated that the 13 injured victims, including 3 males, 9 female adults and 1 female child, had been taken to a nearby hospital for medical attention. He said that 4 of the 7 corpses of the victims had been claimed by their families, while the remaining 3 had been deposited at the morgue. The FRSC spokesperson noted that no victim was saved by seatbelts or other defensive gadgets. He urged motorists to always obey traffic rules and regulations and adhere to all traffic cautions on the road to prevent avoidable crashes. Senate has passed the Northwest Development Commission bill to address the challenges facing the 7 states in the geopolitical zone. The passage of the bill to establish the intervention agency followed the presentation and consideration of the reports of the Committee on Special Duties by its chairman, Senator Kaka Shehu. Shehu, in his presentation, said the bill was aimed at stimulating socio-economic development in the North. Over the session said the law seeks to facilitate the infrastructure in the zone, hinted result for a concurrence with the lower chamber.
The committee, at one of its sittings, deliberated exhaustively on the provisions of the bill. Thereafter, a painstaking clause-by-clause analysis of the bill was carried out to ensure that the bill conforms to normative drafting style as it relates to bill of this magnitude. Observations. In the course of the committee's mark-up session on the bill, the following observations and findings were made. 1. That the contemplation as well as the drafting of the bill aligns with the required and acceptable drafting standards. 2. That the intent and purport of the bill are well structured and are strategically streamlined for socio-economic development of the Northwest geopolitical zone of this country. And 3. That the establishment of the Commission will bring the federal government closer to the Northwestern states as well as meet the yearning and aspirations of the people. Recommendation. The committee, having considered the proposed bill and taken into account its relevance to the development of the Northwest geopolitical zone of this country, hereby recommends that the Senate do consider and pass the Northwest Development Commission Establishment Bill 2024.
The House of Representatives will be invited to give concurrence to this report so that the Northwest geopolitical zone will be
Government's intention to utilize 20 trillion naira from the pension fund for infrastructure projects. In a press statement issued on Thursday in Abuja, Edun underscored the government's adherence to established regulations governing pension funds, assuring that there were no plans to transgress these legal boundaries. Edun highlighted the stringent regulatory framework governing the pension industry, akin to other sectors within the financial domain. He reiterated the government's commitment to upholding these regulations to safeguard the interests of workers' pensions. The minister's remarks come in response to widespread public outcry following the government's earlier announcement of its supported plans to tap into the 20 trillion naira pension funds for infrastructure development initiatives. Edun clarified that the government's discussions, including those held at the Federal Executive Council, were centered on exploring avenues within the existing legal frameworks to maximize the utilization of pension funds for driving investments in strategic growth sectors. He shed light on ongoing dialogues within the financial sector involving stakeholders to explore innovative funding mechanisms aimed at stimulating economic growth, job creation, and poverty alleviation. He emphasized that these discussions investments. The minister's statement seeks to allay fears and clarify the government's stance amidst mounting concerns over the management and utilization of pension funds for national development initiatives. The Coalition of Nigerian Youths on Security and Safety Affairs holds a National Stakeholders Summit on state policing proposal with the theme State Police Proposal, the Efficiency over Expansion and Solutions for Police Optimization. The summit provides platform for discussion on whether Nigeria truly needs state policing or the federal police needs training and strengthening to function more. In an opening remark by the convener, Ambassador Ade Morio Emmanuel and Nigeria's Army Chaplain Daniel Job sets the stage.
Police officer next. And we realize that most of the time there's nobody to say to a police officer, well done, or to say to a police officer, sorry for what you are going through. It's only few of Nigerians who do that.
In an interview with the former governor of Bauchi State, Isa Yukuda, who was the coordinating chairman, said protecting lives and properties was a priority of every youth and mostly the governors of every state in Nigeria, and therefore federal police should strengthen by training the officers as well as employing more rather gas companies. The minister disclosed that the President Bola Tinubu has approved a plan to liquidate the debts. Vice President of Power, Energy, Climate and Green Growth Complex, AFDB, Dr. Kevin K. Kariuku, pointed out that the 90 million out of 600 million people in Africa without access to electricity living in Nigeria, the effectiveness of the reforms will be measured based on how much of over 13 gigawatts of installed capacity Nigeria utilizes for its development. Meanwhile, eminent Nigerians and leaders, including former Ghanaian President John Mahama, yesterday dissected Nigeria's energy crisis and returned a great